Good day, my friends, and welcome. And before we begin, before I say one word about anything, let me say first and foremost how honored I am that you are here, that you are spending your evening with us, depending upon where you are, what time it is. Do not think for a moment that it is not appreciated. I don't think we say thank you enough in this world. I don't hear it enough. I don't hear it enough. And I say to you, thank you for this. The next point. I want to do something and I want to try something and I don't know how we're going to do it. And I don't want this to be construed as anything even remotely considered sacrilege or heresy. But I want to begin, if at all possible, with a mission statement. You can call it a prayer. You can call it a devotional. You can call it an article of faith. I don't know what you will call this, but I want to start off by saying what it is that we're trying to do. First and foremost, we must enjoy being together. It's critical that we do this. We must enjoy thoroughly what we are discussing. We must enjoy each other. We must maintain a degree of civility, which I commend you 100%. It is so adult. And I'm at the stage right now where I'm tired of people not acting like adults. Disagree all you want, but civility is critical, and you have exemplified that. That's number two. Number three. We have to understand that people in the world need our support. And that can come in many, many ways. And I think for purposes of this, I cannot thank Candace Owens enough for bringing us together and for providing us with a kind of a new portal. You know, we talk about new portals in space where critters and various life forms can traverse from one part of the universe to another. Well, she's provided a kind of a new portal. And it's brought a lot of people together, and especially people who never really thought of themselves as being politically astute or connected, because this is beyond political. And the final point is this, and this is where the devotional comes in. I want us to recognize the fact that we enjoy this. We bring up a lot of great points and a lot of wonderful, there's so much terrific commentary and providers of information and data. But I'm afraid of one thing, and maybe you might agree with me. I'm afraid that the people who could be doing something about this, as great as we are, we don't have an army. We don't have the Department of Justice. We have no arrest powers. We have no subpoena powers. We can't put people in jail. We can't end wars or start wars. We can't sign treaties. We can't elect people. We can't do any of this stuff. Theoretically, we can maybe help. Don't ever think for a moment that what we are doing in and of itself is enough to change the world. It's not. We have to enlist government. As loathsome as that is, we can be as powerful, and we have a lot to say. We really can affect the way people think in terms of our opinions and our movements. But I do not want people to think, and I'm afraid this always happens, that people will say, let them talk, let them blow off steam, and let them think in their little channels and talk. Because as powerful as Candace is, she could have 50 million people watching every single day. If that is construed as a substitute for change, that's not what we want. I want it to be indicative of the number of people who support this. But without government, without police, DOJ, incarceration, armies, presidents, executive orders, all of that, we're wasting our time. I think we are committed to something here, all of us, without a doubt. I see this. I see your commentary. Many of you feel like I am, and I've been doing this a while, but I have never felt, ever, and I will never say something just to say it, just to be, dramatic. I have never known evil or seen evil like I'm seeing now. Maybe because it's exemplified, or it's pointed out. Maybe because it's identified. Maybe it's highlighted. Maybe, who knows why. But I have never in my life ever seen anything like this on a regular basis. People who are saying, in fact, there was a commentary before, somebody who said, I'm a Christian. I believe in prayer. I believe in doing the right thing. And yet I feel like I'm in a swamp, like I'm in some kind of a petrified, putrescent world of the vilest people. And I agree. It is not enough for us to talk about it. I don't want them to laugh at us, because they are laughing. They're saying, look at these people. Look at them spinning their wheels. Epstein this, Epstein that, trafficking this, trafficking. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything. I think there's like this disconnect, and you don't know. I'm not going to get into too much details, but I live in a world where I'm always towing the line. Friends of mine are wonderful, but politically they're retarded, and I just don't know what to say. And I'm thinking, do you know what's going on in the world today? No, because their world is cable news and whatever, or this idea of being a conservative means just repeat these incantations like articles of faith. Just say this, wave a flag, put a flag in your lapel, go support the troops, go, Mr. President. This president has done more, as whatever your problems are. I cannot imagine going to anybody but him. I cannot imagine, God forbid, if Kamala or Biden had continued this. I can't imagine an hour of a Democratic administration. I can't. So and I know people have legitimate gripes, but I've got to tell you something. What absolutely hit me so hard, and I've got to back off, because I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe there were reasons for it. I'm going to attribute it to the fact that maybe he just didn't know any better. But appointing Erika Kirk to some Air Force Academy advisory, are they serious? Was this a slap? Am I wasting my time? I say, excuse me, have you not noticed what's going on here? It's got to be. It must be that with all that's going on in the world, somebody said, look, do me a favor. Would you just, okay, sure. Look, the president's got bigger fish to fry. The world could be on a powder cake. I'm not even going to begin to imagine that I know as much as he does as far as what's going on in the world. But it hit me, and maybe it's me. Maybe you felt the same way. I don't know, but I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Have you not heard a word we've been saying? Do you understand? It's like, what are we doing here? This is a joke. What must we say to explain to you this woman isn't just daft, stupid, delusional. She's dangerous and might be involved in very, very, very serious criminal activities that need to be proved. I'm just suggesting, if any, you can't be. I've got a friend of mine who happens to know so many mob people. And I told him, I said, look, I know you're not in it yourself, but anybody who sees you is going to say you're involved with this because you know too many people. Most people don't have 30 folks that they hang around with without being in the mob. So if 10% of what's been alleged regarding her by Candace, if just 10% is true, what are we talking about here? Is anybody paying it? I guess what I'm saying is anybody listening to us? And not only us, but everybody? Is this a joke? Look, I don't know how important these positions are, if it's titular, if it's just some form of I think the Air Force Academy or whatever is pretty good, but are you kidding me? And then it made me think, am I wasting my time with this? Are we wasting our time? Is anybody listening to this? I hope people don't think that we're just going to contain this in situ. We just talk about this and we haven't, hey, there's a new drop, and oh, look at this, there's a new Fort Huachuca, hey, Tyler Boyer did this, and we fool ourselves into thinking that that's accomplishing something. I don't want to think that she's laughing at us. I don't want to think that she says, look at these bastards, look at that, they think nothing's happening. They're not going to get me. They think they're accomplishing things. If they think that because Candace brings this stuff up and embarrasses me about I'm a grifter. I've been a grifter my whole life. You think this is embarrassing to me? That's what I think is happening. Do you feel like this? It hit me. It's like, what am I doing? Do they think this? Am I going to one day look back and when somebody says, what did you do? What did you accomplish with Epstein? Nothing. Really, nothing. I mean, we talked about it. We made all kinds of connections and graph. There's some great YouTube. Oh my God. Did you know today that YouTube is the biggest media company in the world today? It beat Disney. This right now. This is the biggest media company there is. And it's brilliant. We use their platform to provide our content, and they're genius. And God bless YouTube. And I know others are great, and Rumble's terrific, and all this stuff, but nothing is like here. Nothing. We have some of the best commentary, some of the best citizen influencers and investigators that have been inspired by Candace. I mean, some of the best. And the amount of time and effort that they put into this. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, hold off. Is anybody listening to this? What do they think we're doing this for? Do they think we just want to spin our wheels and say, well, do whatever you want? Do they not understand we want to change the world? Now they're going to turn to us and say, you know what? Look at she's a grieving widow. You know, there's one thing that we did. We killed that. You know how we do think? I do think we've won, and thank you very much. Do you know how I think we've won? The people who came out initially for her have just gone away. Ben Shapiro. Have you seen Dan Bangina anywhere? No, nowhere. He's doing his thing. All that's over with. It's just the couple of people here and there, and you know, Candace is evil, and it doesn't even make any sense anymore. It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't. They're gone. And one of the reasons why they never took effect is because people don't really care what they think. And frankly, we've been telling them the opposite. We live in a world right now where we have a president, I think, who's doing the best. Listen, don't ever think that I'm 100% with any of these people. But I mean, after what we went through, he needs absolutely, possibly new thing. Oh, look at this. I came to learn new words. Well, this is the place to do it. You want to be a logodatalist? You want to be a logophile? You want to be a sesquipedalian? Well, this is the place, and I thank you. But here's the deal. What's really important here is I'm dead serious about that. This isn't a joke to me. I mean, it's fun. We'll talk about stuff. I don't want it to be like every time we talk, it's like a funeral. But I spent my time when I saw what happens when the government gets after people and goes after people for doing the wrong thing. And so far, we don't have anybody in the government with us. Who backs us? Who? And then when I saw Erika Kirk and say, do you know what you just did? Are you not listening? Did somebody just miss the point? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's new. Maybe it's, Look, there are some people I know, for example, who live in different bubbles. I know a friend of mine who says, what evidence is there exactly of, for example, UFOs or whatever? I said, what? He just doesn't know. So consequently, I said, okay, well, he doesn't. Maybe they don't know about this. I believe in something here. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it God or Jesus or fate or justice or kismet or karma. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what the name of this is. But I do know that when you go hurting people, especially children, for this amount of time, you are going to pay. And you're going to pay dearly. Nature does not allow this, irrespective of religion, which certainly condemns it. And there are some religions that like this, child marriages. I never knew, because of the internet and because of this. I'm alerting myself to things that are so bizarre. I think the human species is evil, and I think the good people are the exceptions. I'm sorry. How can you have cultures that actually sign off on child marriage? How do you do that? What are you talking about? How do we live in a country where we have heads of state, some of the most powerful people in the world, emailing each other using code words that the FBI violated, or excuse me, listed in its own argot, its own dictionary, its own lexicon, and other PDF file 4chan groups. Did you hear what I told you? When this first came out, there were some people, admittedly sick in 4chan, who lent a hand, which is a unique phraseology, but they said, we know what these words mean, and they mean this. They did it. They told us. And we were called crazy. And I said, do you mean to tell me we are coming to you with evidence of an international, certainly national, domestic, and just a very serious circuit of some of the most depraved people, and your first response is to call us crazy? To call us conspiracy theorists? And to try to deplatform us? Let me get this straight. You're in on it. It's the only reason you would want to shut down the people who are alerting you. We came to you, law enforcement, to do something about this. How do you think evidence is acquired? If I call the police and I'm saying, there is a woman who is yelling, help me. I hear this. Send a car, send a unit. How do you know she's not acting? You've got a very acting. How do you know it's not the TV? Would you please send a car? Yeah, but what if it's, this is your imagination. Is what next? Oh, is this some conspiracy? You're in on it. Everybody else will say, of course we'll be there. Of course we'll look at it. Send me those emails. Let me see this again. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, did you see this? If I was making references to African-American phrases, laughing about slavery or lynching or blackface, and that leader, big names, you make the Podestas and all these other people, they would come down on them merely for being inappropriate in terms of joking, making references to blackface or minstrel shows. This is a series of potential crimes that defy comprehension. It is unnatural. It goes against human nature. And nobody lifted a finger. They still didn't lift a finger. They still haven't said anything. With all the Pam Bondis and others, DOJs, and they still haven't said what's going on here. If it was a spy network, if it was the Hansen case or the Rosenbergs, or let's say they were talking to a Russian, God forbid, or a Chinese spy, do you think they would have said, it doesn't matter? No. The reason why, listen to me, the reason why they don't care about this is that they're in on it. They're looking the other way because they're in on it. This is not an exaggeration. Candace successfully tied Erika and her lineage to all the military bigwigs and Epstein workings. I believe Trump and JD are aware of all of this. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem. Did you see? Thank you, by the way, for that. Did you see the picture of Erika grabbing JD? There's a way that adults kiss each other, and embrace, bracero, bacio, a kiss, like just, and then there's that. That was seduction. That was lust. Do you think he's going to go after her? Did you see the pictures? Go back and look at Erika hugging the president. He was like looking like this. She's got her head on his shoulder. She's got this crying thing. It's disgusting. You think they're going to go after her? Really? He just appointed her head of the Air Force Academy, whatever. I don't think he knows anything about it. I, honest to God, would sit there and say, I think J.D. Vance and the president would very likely say to you, do you know what I'm worried about right now? Erika Kirk is not on my list, but do you think somebody in his channel, in his circuit would say, Mr. President, you can't do this. They carried more about when they brought up Robert Byrd and his association with the Klan and others as well, they, you know what I mean? They sort of said that maybe that was a concern. There's no concern of this. There is nothing. It doesn't come up at all. Let me ask you a question. Answer me truly, okay? Answer me this. Imagine it's during the time of Nixon. And instead of Charlie Kirk, it was Billy Graham. And they did to Billy Graham what they did to Charlie Kirk. What do you think Nixon would have done? Think about that. Billy Graham was so loved. They would have stopped everything. The world would have said, you can't do this. They would have locked, that crime scene would have been locked down. Nobody would leave. They would get on a microphone. They would have these kettle devices. You ever see when the military or the law enforcement, they have these, it's almost like it's like a gate. They unravel it. They had it at the Republican National Convention years ago with Bloomberg. And they say, nobody moves. Stay where you are. Nobody gets out of here. It may take hours. We're going to process every single person here. Nobody leaves. And nobody's going to pave this over. And nobody. If Billy Graham, but with Charlie, what did they do? Nothing. Do you see what's going on here? Something's wrong here. Something's very wrong. I don't want to keep saying they're in on it. It's an inside job. It's this and that. But the reason why inside jobs, they look just like this. They're covering up. Nobody is doing anything. Nobody has lifted a finger. They only bring up Epstein just to insult people or maybe to, I don't know what the word is, maybe to embarrass somebody. Original Titan says, Candace said that TPUSA was at the West Wing. Absolutely. And what do you think that's about? TPUSA is creating the illusion of being a political powerhouse, similar to CPAC. The moment they understand they won't have power to do anything, they're a joke. That's when it's over. That's when the protection is over. That's when it's okay, you're on your own. And all of these people. What about the Doge? Nobody even cares about, nobody. Believe me, if it had been Billy Graham, the first thing they would say, what was Billy Graham talking about? Who are some of the people who would want Billy Graham off? Maybe just people who are just evil. We don't have anybody big. We need somebody to get to the ear of the president. We need somebody, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example. You can laugh all you want. But if Sean Hannity got a hold of this thing, he could pick up the phone and call his friend, the president, and I promise you, he would say, really? Yes, this is serious. Okay. And it's not because the president's not paying attention, but because he's got so many things going on. Nobody's listening to us. They keep thinking that Candace is some kind. We don't think so. But why do you think they're making her out to be such a lunatic when she's not? Why do you think they're doing this? Because they want to destroy her reputation. So that when somebody says, well, who's behind you? Candace. Oh, come on. The one who thinks that Macron's a dude, is that one? Oh, she's crazy. See what they do? She's crazy. She's a nut. I don't think they realize this. That's why, step 2, Candace has to go political. Not run for office, but she has to say something. Say, let me tell you something. TPUSA didn't provide you with anything. If I tell my people that there's a congressman and he's running for such and such, and he's in some little congressional district, and he is going to be on some committee that could really make headways, or if there's somebody getting in the way of us, or somebody that we construe to be maybe the enemy, And if Candace Owens says, do me a favor, not from me, I don't want anything from me, but I want you to send money to this guy. And all of a sudden, because that's all they care about. And all of a sudden, overnight, this guy says, what's this? This is, we're going to call that not, this is like a K-Pack or something. This is going to be like Candace A-Pack or Candace Pack or I don't know. There's all these political action committees and K-Pack or I don't know what you want to call it. If they say Candace sent us. If all of a sudden these people showed up, you think I'm kidding. And by the way, did you hear today? She was saying, oh, I got this thing in French. She goes, oh, I forgot. That's our French channel. Our French channel. Let's assume there was a very critical vote. Let's say somebody said she doesn't like somebody. Somebody said something about us, about her, about Charlie, whatever it was. And they're up for re-election. And that the person running against them is pretty good. And Candace says, all right, that's the one we want. And we just say, Candace sent us. K-Pack. It sounds like a Korean boy band, isn't it? K-Pack or Tupac or whatever. You know, believe me, they're gonna say, who is that? Candace. Really? Yeah. What's TPUSA gonna do? There is no TPUSA. There is no TPUSA. It doesn't exist. What are you talking about? There is no TPUSA. There was under Charlie. You don't know that, do you? Because they're not going to tell you that. And you pick. I'm sorry. You, honest to God, you picked her for anything? Ricky says, thanks, Lionel. I've been listening for years. Thank you, sir, Ricky. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm telling you. You see, they don't have any. When you tell somebody you're going to do something, if you have a son, if you have a daughter, and there's a bully, and you can say, now listen, do me a favor. I want you to understand something. Here's how we're going to handle this. There is going to come to a point when all of the threats are not perceived as a promise. And we're going to have to show them that we mean business, or else they're not going to pay attention to us. Are you ready to do that? Doesn't mean physical. It doesn't mean physical. It doesn't mean physical. But when it gets to that point where, are you sure you... Remember, don't forget the Jack Reacher thing. Remember, you wanted this. You see, they don't believe us. They don't believe us. They think we're just some internet group of people. Instead of people talking about cats or somebody talking about sports or somebody unboxing a curling iron, they think we're just this, oh, look at them. Oh, Candace has got skills. You got 5 million. 5 million what? 5 million what? What? What's she going to do? What's she going to do? That's why we have to sit down with her and say, now listen, we have to figure out how we do this. If all of a sudden it happens where there's Candace's army. Now, when you do this, I'm telling you, get prepared. They're going to call you an anti-Semite, and they're going to call you, I don't know, Islamophobic. They're ready for... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a list that says, instead of these are my pronouns, these are my accusations. Unless you have a new one, I've heard them all. So here are my accusations: crazy conspiracy theorist, anti-Semite, anti-Catholic, anti-religious, atheist. I get atheist, conspiracy theorist, lunatic, right wing, gun nut, whatever. This is my list of pronouns. Unless you have a new one, save your time. I've already heard this. Thank you, Sherox. I appreciate that. I do. Seriously. Get them out of the way. Okay, when you're done, let me know. Call me the names, but do me a favor. I'll give you 5 minutes. Say them all, and then we're going to talk, okay? Because we're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So you can try, but that doesn't... I don't know what century you're living in. I don't know what year you're living in. I don't know why you think that's going to do anything. We've heard everything. In fact, if you didn't tell us, you're not paying attention to us because you don't think for yourself. That's all you do. You never attack what we say. You attack us. And we're used to that. And that means we're winning. Because if there was something that we were saying that was wrong, that was fundamentally wrong, if there was something that was really wrong, you understand what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. Most probably at this point, it's a rat's nest. Did Erika know Epstein? We'll see. I don't know. Since 2016, DJT has exposed people by talking about them, hiring them, and putting them in the limelight. For example, the media, famous people, etc., has exposed people by talking about them, hiring them, and putting them in the limelight. That's interesting. I think we need to do a little bit something different with this. A little different. Erika versus Hillary nightmare scenario. Which way you go? Erika versus Hillary. No. Listen. I'm going to say something to you, and you're not going to like this. But if I had to pick between Erika and Hillary, I'll pick Hillary. Because she's an enemy I can deal with. I know what she's talking about. She's not an idiot. She's not an idiot. She's good. Here in New York, you don't care about this, but we have a guy, Mamdani. Our predecessor is Bill de Blasio. I'll take Bill de Blasio. He's smart. I understand him. I know what they do. It's like you're a burglar and there's you hear a dog in the background and say, oh, that's a dog. I know what to do. But if you heard the rumbling of some animal you've never heard before, you would say, I don't know about this. What is this? This is scary. That's the way these people are. Erika Kirk there is no Erika Kirk there. You understand what I'm saying? There is no Erika Kirk. There is no Erika Kirk. She doesn't exist. She is an empty vessel. She doesn't exist. She's a puppet. You put your hand in it and you go like this and it becomes by some kind of proxy, whatever you want to call it. She doesn't exist. She's dangerous because she can be bought, not even by money, but by praise, by effusive, praise and, oh, you're so beautiful. And she is so easy to pick off. She is so easy. By the way, this may sound terrible, but if you were at a bar, she'd be so easy to pick up. Seriously. She'd be the easiest thing you've ever seen because you know exactly what it is that motivates her. You know exactly what we're talking about here. So let me go through what's going on here. Let me explain. Congress is corrupt to the point where it's almost like it's not even worthwhile. It is so corrupt. Jim Jordan is great at knowing every date, every fact, every bit of datum, and they're doing nothing. John Kennedy. You know, I had a coon dog named Billy. You know, he gives us these stories. What are you talking about? He doesn't do anything. Mrs. L will tell you, by the way, that there was some legislation regarding COSA. You wouldn't believe the people on our side. AOC, magnificent. You would not believe what I heard and she heard. Renee says, could EK actually run for office as Vice President of Vance? She could, but remember, the party would never allow that. The Republican Party they would never nominate her. They would tell her, you're not going to do this. You can't do this. She's never even. It's one thing when you've never been in office and you're Donald Trump. No. I mean, she could run. Certainly she could. You got to be over the age of 35. Remember, there's no specific eligibility regarding vice president, but it's the same rules that the president would have to have, because you have to be able to walk in. You have to be a natural born citizen, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't want that. Let me say this again. She doesn't want that. Michelle Obama does not want that. Do you know how boring it is to be vice president? Vice president. Thank you, Julie Simmons. Who was it? Nash Gardner said, he said it amounts to a warm bucket. He said a warm bucket of piss, but they changed it to spit. It's meaningless. It's worthless. You go to funerals and you go to, no. You think she can do that? No. President of the Senate? No. The Republican Party would never have anything. We need a new party. We need a new party. We need somebody who is J.D. Vance, listen to me, is bought and sold and owned by Peter Thiel and Palantir. Do you want me to say it again? Want me to say it again? He's giving this AI summit. He seems like a nice guy. Do you know anything about him? I mean, sure he is. He has this thing. What's his real name? What's his story? Where did this come from? Where did this hillbilly elegy come from? Where he? You know what he reminds me of? Obama. Kind of out of nowhere. Both of them, they have this interesting background. This strange. I don't know what the story is. I don't know enough about him. So one thing I know about Trump, I know who he is. He's done his stuff. He doesn't need this. This is pure ego. Janelle, thank you so much. Thank you for this, seriously. There's nobody out there that I would even trust. The system is corrupt. It doesn't matter. The system is corrupt. Again, I don't want this to be the Donald Trump hour, but he does stuff only he wants. He does stuff you can't believe. For example, tomorrow he could end the Iranian thing like that. Like nothing, like you don't know what hit him. And tell Bibi, that's it. See you. What? He did that with Zelensky. 1 minute he loves you, next, now say, I'm tired of this. Next. He'll go out guns a-blazing. He will come at you. It's just like he'll sue you. This is what Roy Cohn told him. He'll sue you. Multi-count. And then they'll say, now you want to settle? Yes. Great. Now we'll talk. Sue you first, then we'll negotiate. That's how he does it. That's how he does it. Bella Blue, ladies and gentlemen. Bella Blue says, you, Candace, Barron, and Coach are my favorite podcasters. In no particular order because you are all uniquely entertaining. Love you all. Absolutely. And I'm honored to be in that group. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I would love one day, how do we say this? We have, I can only speak, you like us, you really like us, like Sally Fields. Not because of what we say or like we're funny, it's because of what we're talking about. If I came out, if the aforementioned didn't say anything, you'd say, okay, I don't like him. It's what we're saying. And each has a unique way of doing it. This is the news. Let me explain this to you. In my generation, we had Cronkite. We had 3 networks, and that was it. We had Cronkite, we had Peter Jennings, and maybe Huntley and Brinkley, and that was it. And Cronkite was number 1. We had a paper in the morning, and depending upon your city, maybe in the afternoon, that was it. We never had breaking news. We had no cable. We had no nothing. And that's the way it was. You got Newsweek. You got a weekly news magazine. What happened this past week? Forget it. What you are doing on right now, is you are seeing something that is the new face, I hate to say it, of journalism. Listen, I'm not going to say me. Listen to them. And in 1 week, you will know more about the subject than anything you've ever seen. Listen to 1 week of any cable news show and you will learn nothing. Nothing. What this is something that is, you have to explain what is happening here. When AIDS came along, you may not remember this. I'm always thinking you're younger than me. So you are younger, but I'm saying you might not remember this. In 1980, Mrs. L will tell you, she was working here. She was in New York. She was working on Broadway. And you saw you saw something that, I mean, people walking around with Kaposi sarcoma with these, I mean, it was a scourge. They didn't know what this thing was. It was an explosion. And they decided on their own. They tried their best. Reagan didn't care. Ed Koch didn't even care. He was a mayor of New York and he was gay. But he couldn't say that because he was from the old school. And what got people's attention was the quilt and people. My generation was the Vietnam War. We got that stopped. Eventually the government, caught up. We're dealing with something different. AIDS is one thing, war is another. It's a different story. At least there's a benefit. At least you could say, well, maybe with the war today, maybe gas prices may go down. Vietnam, there was no benefit at all. Zamet says Candace Owens will bring the Trump administration down. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. But there's more to it. There are many, many layers. I don't know if she wants to bring them down. What do you replace it with? You see, the first rule of geopolitics, when you want to talk about regime change, is who replaces them. There's a vacuum. There's a power vacuum. Who are you bringing in? Let me tell you how we do things. First and foremost, we have a meeting. We have a convention. By the way, in 1856 in Philadelphia was the first Republican National Convention. Merch. Anyway, in 1856 there was a convention. The platform was the twin pillars of barbarism. It was polygamy and slavery. It's the Republican Party. So we have to have our Candace Party, K-PAC, whatever you want to call it. And we got to write down what is that? What do we stand for? No more than 3 platforms. No more than 3. And it cannot be something that is anything short of 100% fervent, wild acceptance of it. And I would suggest one thing to start off. Very simple. When you get to the war, when you talk about things, no, that's okay. But number one, this subjugation of human beings through either trafficking or whatever you want to call it, that is evil. These people who do a number on others using this sham, this business about orphanages. It's the oldest trick in the book. That's number one. Or people looking the other way when somebody like an Epstein makes it, if he doesn't get, he's dead, but I mean, if you don't burn these people, they get away with murder. Anne Marie Tipton says, I really enjoy listening to you and learning from you. Between you, Candace, and Barron, I love it. When Candace said he reminds me of my grandpa, I said out, yes, he reminds me of mine as well. That is the greatest honor in the world. You don't remember that great song by the Judge, Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. When like your grandfather is the guy who loves you, the one who's not like a parent. He's wiser than your parents. He's your parents' parent, for God's sake. But they show a love for you. It's the one that doesn't lie to you. And he treats you different than anybody else. Oh, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Jamie says, Lionel, I'm trying to send you a story about Vance and Palatine, East Palestine, Ohio, but YouTube kept making me rewrite it. You are the best, brother. Thank you. Let me just tell you this one. Email me these, Lionel@lionelmedia.com. That is my personal, that is my thing. Lionel@lionelmedia.com. Please send it. I would love it. Thank you for that. Send them away. Send away. I love that. I have a very, very simple thing. We have to have one particular issue that everybody agrees with. And it's the easiest. If I walked into, and by the way, evil's a tough one. If I walked it, we're not seeing this as much anymore, but don't think for a moment that the sex mutilators, the gender mutilators aren't out in force. Don't think for a moment that's not true. Don't think so. They are there. And and by the way, I don't understand why. I don't understand why, and I don't care why. I don't know what the motivation is. I can't change the motivation. But I want you to understand this. We're going to ask you a very simple question. What are you doing? What are you doing regarding Epstein, Mr. So-and-so? What are you doing? What are you doing? Let me explain to you something that Rudy Giuliani did in 1994. There was something in New York that the police, when the police were great, called CompStat, C-O-M-P-S-T-A-T. And it means computer statistics is what it means. And what happened was they would have a weekly meeting. And what they would do is, in the old days, they never cared about this. People just wanted to make their retirement. And they're good people. But there were a bunch of people, Jack Babel, Bratton, John Timoney, Lou Anamone, Bill Bratton, Timoney, Maple, somebody else. But these, and Giuliani, of course. But they were like these innovative police. So what they do is, in New York, on Monday, 6 o'clock, they would have these meetings, once a month or once a week. And you, instead of the 15 precincts, you go to 1-5, the 2-3, the 4-0, and you'd go there. And they would bring in somebody like the commander or the whatever the captain or whoever ran this precinct. And he said, "What are you doing to drop or improve upon residential burglaries? What are you doing against violent crime? Here are the stats. Armed robbery is up 25% in your precinct. What are you doing about it?" And they would, you're out of here. And they do a foot patrol in Staten Island and bring somebody else in. You're next. What are you doing about it? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to have a task force, and we're going to go undercover, and we're going to have sting operations. That's more like it. That's more like it. And what they did was, and what's critical, what they did was they would come along and they would make these people do this. And they would force them. They would force them to have to account. So what I want Candace's army, and by the way, she's wonderful because she is this. Do you ever think about this? She's a woman. She's black. She's, I guess, conservative. And it never comes up. It doesn't have to. She's just great. Do you ever think about Candace as a black woman? I don't. Or a woman? I mean, I do, but not really. She's not a niche player. She's not there's no descriptive. Well, someone said, well, she's an activist. No, she's an American. And she's, maybe a Catholic, maybe religious, but she doesn't have a name. She's not the she's the local, whatever it is. She just says it. And I want people to understand that the first thing we're talking about right now is there is a pervasive sense of evil. And evil has got to be, and we've got to stop this. And we've got to go and find out, get a lay of the land, or a lay of the lamb, as one salesman said. And we got to go in and we got to find out who's doing what. And let's say, for example, we find out that there's a person in the house who for the longest time sat on, let's say, releasing the Epstein files because he might have had some kind of a compromise. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. He had a compromise, something that, whatever. And I come to you, we have a meeting, and I say, okay, this guy's name is, let's say his name is Walker. Johnny Walker. So Johnny Walker from this, he's a very critical part. He was a ranking member, whatever. He's no good. Okay? Next year, he's going to have an opponent. We're going to primary his ass, meaning we're going to put somebody up against him. And we're going to need this. Okay, folks. All right, K-Pack. All right, Candace's army. We need this amount of money. Anybody willing to cough it up? I'll vote. Good. Bypasses her. Goes right to this person. You're running it. And we go out everywhere and use the power of this. And we tell people in that particular district, This guy didn't do this. He had the chance to vote in this particular vote, and he didn't do it. These are the people. And we get some Epstein victims, and we go out there and we hit him hard. We also tell the person that we're putting behind him, listen, understand something. We're behind you. But if you let us down, we will cut your balls off and put it on the wall. See, we have this trophy case. His balls are going to go up there first. Yours are next. If you let us down. You got that? Good. Then all of a sudden the word gets out. Who is this? Who are these K-Packers? Who are they? What do they want? What do they mean? What do they need? There are four. And we're going to have our own, by the way, we're going to set this, the storyline. And you want people to do this. This is what I want people to say. Not, hey, isn't that great? Hey, isn't that Candace great? I want them to say, oh shit, it's Candace Owens. That's what I want. And we're in. We get one victory under our belt. Anybody next? No. Oh, we'll come in there. And we will have people on the street. And there's something nobody ever does. And you see where their office is? We're going to have protests there. We're going to have people walking. And their local news booth will say, nobody ever protests. We do it. Why? Because you had a chance. You had the chance to do the right thing. You had a chance to bring down Epstein, but you didn't care because you took money from so-and-so or you didn't care. Oh, yeah. That's how it's done. It's brutal. And they say, oh, my God. And they're going to come after you. And there's going to be, remember, it's going to be counter-protesting. It's going to be counter-protesting. The anti-Semite allegation and the racist. They're going to get people to pretend. This is called, false flag is one thing, but this is the agent provocateur. They're going to get somebody allegedly from our side, and they're going to create some type of violence. And they're going to say, see what happens? That's why we announce, here's what to look for. Number one, they will call her an anti-Semite. Or number two, and we lay it out. This is what they're going to do. It's what Larry Bird used to do. He would tell his defender, I'm going to shoot from here, and he would do it. And we tell people, this is what to watch for. And it's a drinking game. Every time you see this, have a shot. Because the game is over with. You tell people what you know they're going to do. It's like when you're doing a closing argument. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the prosecutor is going to tell you, and he's a fine man. He's going to tell you that he proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But what he's not going to tell you is that there was a big problem with that case, which he never talked to. Why would he? He's not an idiot. And he's also going to tell you, well, we're going to tell you this. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens. Because I want you to understand this. If you and I are just going to talk about this, which is fun, tell me. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to go to the next level. I want to be a force. I want people to say, damn. And to our friends, we will treat them like gold. And I know you're not going to want to hear this. But every now and then, somebody's going to come forward and say, you know what? I agree with you. Let me ask you something. Between the Republicans and the Democrats, who's holding up the Epstein files? Democrats or Republicans? Who? Who? Between the Republicans and the Democrats, who's standing in the way of the files coming out? Who? That's right. The Republicans. That's right, Gal Sophia. Absolutely. Now, I don't know. You may not like this. You may not care for this. You may not like this. But I'm telling you right now, I am not a Republican. I don't care about Nixon or Goldwater or the history. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not there. I tend to maybe agree more. I don't have any affiliation. I don't care what it is. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not there for that. I'm not there to push some agenda about, whatever. That's not my thing. I'm not interested. I don't have this fetish about Ronald Reagan. I don't want to go to CPAC and wave flags and pretend I'm doing something. See, Republicans love to pretend that they're doing something. Let me give you the lay of the lamb, as this guy said. Democrats think they're smarter than you. They think they're more sophisticated than you. They think they're cooler than you. Thank you, Mary Townsend. You the best. Thank you. They think they're smarter than you. They think you're a hick, a racist, a rube, some rusticator, some podunk lunatic, some guy walking around with bib overalls, sitting on a bale of hay. They think you're into your God and your church and all this stuff. And they will tell you, you've got all the best symbols. The flag, the cross, the family, God, the Bible. What do they have? I don't know what they have. I think you've got a new member here. Thank you. They've got things like the peace sign, the old days, the dove, abortion, Robert De Niro. I don't know. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know. But they think they're better than you. And they think they're smarter. And they think they're more sophisticated. They think you're a Luddite. They think they're cooler. They're fluid. Their politics is like their sexuality. They shtup a snake if you hold a head. They don't care about anything. They have no conviction. They don't believe in anything. You can always tell, you notice this, when a Trump voter or a Republican area, because you see a flag. Democrats never have a flag. Never. They don't know anything about it. They would rather wear a keffiyeh, and I'm not saying one thing or another about Palestine, but they have no problem with that. They will wear that and gay flags and a pussy hat and all this other jazz. Pardon my French. They have no problem with that. But an American flag? Because that's considered passé. That's who they think you are. Now, Republicans, we think we're superior to you morally. Well, not intellectually so far, but brains don't matter as much as honor and doing what's right and respect and the fundamentals. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you so much. That's what I say we because I'm sure as hell don't apply to them, but Ronald Reagan, the flag, and George Washington, and God, and by God, and great, wonderful. And I think between the two, most people would say, I want to go with those guys. Here's the problem. The Democrats, they get stuff done. Oh, they march. Oh, man. Republicans, no. They watch Fox News. That's good. Did you hear what Jesse Waters says? That's it. I'm doing my part, yeah. I watched Judge Janine or something, They are very good about going to Trump rallies, but they don't. No, absolutely not. Their book haven't. Look at this, Leanne. Thank you. Gifted up. You're so beautiful. And we have to push this aside. We have to say, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you. If you're black, gay, trans, I don't care who you are. I want to talk about one thing. We'll get to stuff later. Evil. And you start with the subjugation and the destruction. Jamie says, Lionel, did you just say shtup a snake? I DPI up my cheeseburger. Hey guys, sorry about that. Yes, shtup, tag. Anyway, I want to start with them, and right off the bat, you do this, and you always start off correct by creating warriors, and you go into any community, and you start off with this. Do you like your country the way it is now? Nobody says no. Everybody says no. I mean, no, it is yes. Okay. And you can say, now, if you think I'm here to defend Trump, Trump's out. This is his last term. He's a lame duck. I'm sorry. I appreciate if you don't like him, that's fine. But it's moot. It doesn't matter. He's done. He's finished. We got midterms coming up, but that's it. I one time went to I was a guest speaker at a Chamber of Commerce in like Westchester or something. And I told the guy, I said, watch this. I said, this is like picking a jury. I said, watch what I do. They're going to love me when I get done. And I started off just like that. Do you like what's going on? Do you like this? Yeah. Do you think your government's looking at it? Do you think anybody appreciates you? When was the last time your government said thank you? I know what they're going to say. I know what they're going to say. I know what they're going to say. It's like cold reading. It's what they used to do with a carnival. You got to know what to say. You're feeling. You can the way astrologers do it. And all right, fine. Don't want to get into this side business. But we're going to say we've got problems here. Anybody got kids? Anybody kids? Grandkids? Got good. I want to talk about that for a moment, if you don't mind. You don't mind if I talk to your kids, do you? And I'm not talking about drag shows. I'm not talking about wearing a dress. If that were that easy, I'd sleep at night. I'm talking about kids being absolutely sold, bought and sold. And the thing that nobody really wants to talk about is what's happening through digital contamination. That's the one nobody gets. But we'll handle this later on. And first things first. What would you think about a guy who used to work for the president and a bunch of other people who is emailing each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, pizza, 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 pizza. My friend Ben Swan, I've known him for years. He was at Atlanta. He was a reporter, excellent. He brought up Pizzagate before anybody. They canned him. Why? Because not because it wasn't true. What does that tell you? The people that fire you for reporting something are doing the thing that you're reporting. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? When I was involved years ago, there was litigation in churches. It was very important because they were going after the Catholic Church. And I started to get this stuff. Oh, you're anti-Catholic. I said, don't give me that stuff. It's like the anti-Semite thing or the racist stuff. You can't hurt children, and you can't traffic in human life. Force, fraud, or coercion. You can't do it. You can't. And you've got to get somebody. And I'm telling you, until we get somebody and really make an example out of them, where the system says, when Epstein did that funny little thing out of Palm Beach jail where he didn't even check in, he pretended to go in, and he had a party that people attended after he was released, that showed the whole world we don't care about this. And if you happen to be a big shot and you donate to the right people, we'll give you the same treatment. What? I don't understand this. Have you seen these stories? You have, of a woman. Let's say there's a woman and she has inappropriate relations with a student. One. Remember Mary Kate Letourneau? She was in love with that student. It's wrong. He was a minor, she was an adult, and she was his teacher. But she loved him. And they got married. And she died tragic, I think, of cancer or something. But they had children, and she loved him. One person. You see a woman all the time. A young woman, I don't know why, she'll have, inappropriate relationship with one student. Not a bunch. One. And they text back and forth. And there's a weird kind of seduction. It's wrong. One. And they bury her. She does prison time. Epstein doesn't even care about them. He's got hundreds. They're chattel. They're beasts of burden. They're nothing to him. He traffics in human lives. And it's nothing. But if one woman, and I know people are going to take it the wrong way, but why don't you show that same ferocity towards him that you showed her? And as long as you do that, and that's why we, being KPAC, the Kansas Army, whatever we call it, we have to go, we have to tell people, answer me this question. My father used to have this wonderful logic. You say, maybe I don't understand something. Maybe you can explain this to me. Can you tell me why we throw the book at this woman, but when it comes to him, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe there's a fact, there must be, that I know nothing about. Maybe you can help me. There is no fact. We know this. But here's the difference. Nobody is going to go and explain to the president or anybody else for that matter, this has got to stop now. I don't give a damn if Epstein was Adnan Khashoggi's weapons, and he was weapons. I don't care about that. I don't care if he was Les Wexner's buddy. I don't care about that. I don't care if he was friends with Dershowitz or with George Stephanopoulos or Bill Clinton. I don't care about this. I don't care if he's Jewish, Presbyterian. I don't care. I don't care if he was Mossad, FBI, or the Boy Scouts. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We're going to break it off in you. We're going to get you. You are going to rue the day this happens. And we're not talking about something that, you're making a big deal out of something like, oh, okay, the guy cheated on his wife. No. You see what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? Because here's the thing. As long as that continues without some kind of action, they're just going to laugh at us. And they're going to laugh at Candace. They're going to say, isn't she great? She thinks she's so tough. Yeah, big deal. Whoopie-dee-doo. She does this thing with a, let her worry about, the schmeckle that Macron's got. You know what I mean? The schwanz he's toting. Let her worry about that. She's small potatoes. That's what they think. And I want to show them wrong. Who's with me on this one? You don't have to make it, but I'm serious. I want this to marinate. I want you to ask yourself the question all night long. Why should anybody listen to Candace Owens? Why? What do they care? The other one comes, the other one goes. This is it. This one came. I remember one guy years ago, he was trying to find justice for Vince Foster. I said, nobody cares about Vince Foster. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to cover it up. Nobody cares about this. But when when the Vietnam, and I saw this, you know what changed with the Vietnam War? You know what really changed it when the protests came? When grandmothers started showing up. Oh, shit. Wow. That was it. And when you see people standing there, and by the way, this is the best one ever. Hello, my name is so-and-so. I don't know anybody who Epstein got. I don't know. But I don't have to have somebody in my family. I'd love to have somebody who trying to raise his money for juvenile diabetes or something, who doesn't have anybody in his family who has juvenile diabetes. Somebody who just says, it's like my wife got involved with Lynn's Warriors. She's not luckily for her, it was just this, she heard this. And it's the most awful thing in the world. You should see what's going on right now. This is the worst. And I've met these families. They show, they bring posters, and these kids, one girl bought something online. It was just a pill. It had fentanyl in it. She's dead. She's gone. Another one was involved in some kind of a choking challenge. He's gone. Another one self-harmed because of sextortion. He's gone. And they stand in the room. John Alite, the ex-Gambino, killer thug, whatever you want to call it. He's turned his life around. His daughter, I forget what, she didn't overdose. She was poisoned. And one day there was an event and he was there with police, and there's no race. It's not about, it's a black thing. It's a white thing. That's part of this internet thing. And nobody's doing anything because Mark Zuckerberg owns them. And with all due respect, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's parade, but if you think AIPAC is important and they're big, you ain't seen nothing yet. When I saw the president of the United States sitting around the table, and I listen, I'm not giving the president a hard time. He's the best we've got. I haven't seen anything like him. But he's got a lot that we can teach him. But when he was sitting around with Altman, Zuckerberg from OpenAI, Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, whatever, from Apple. That was it. And when Melania says, and AI is a wonderful thing, I said, oh no, no. I got to work on that too. AI is going to be is an existential threat to this society. When I tell people that, they think I'm kidding. I'm dead serious. But we'll get to that later. I don't want to hit them with too much stuff. I want to talk about evil. They laughed at us. Strike that. When we speak before the public, they laughed at you. They don't care about you. They think that you're crazy because you believe in this thing called democracy. Well, representative democracy. You think that when they have some congressional hearing, that something gets done. You think that when Jim Jordan talks his balderdash and John Kennedy, John, they laugh at you. Thank you so much, Allegrato. Thank you. I think I'm reading this correctly. Thank you. They laugh at you. Mark Zuckerberg couldn't care. Mark Zuckerberg, they said, stand up and turn around. By the way, Ted Cruz made him, if you believe that. He said, turn around and stand up and thank or apologize to these people. And you're okay. I'm very sorry for your loss. Okay, anything else? He's a cyborg. He doesn't care about anything. They're laughing at us. Do you hear what I'm saying? They're laughing at us. They're laughing at you. So I don't want to just keep talking about the latest thing and, hey, there's a new story that Mitch Snow really was at Fort Huachuca with Tyler and so I don't care about that. What does that mean? I don't know. They're lying. Okay, fine. What does it mean? I don't know. Uh-oh. Here's Amber. Here's Amber Nelson. 8439. Do you know, I am so bad at this. When I see it's obviously Amber Nelson, 8439, I'll see like Bernaldson. You know, I'll pick the wrong. I'm not very good at that. Some things I'm good at. Something direction. Retarded. But thank you. So I'm in for this, my friends. I am absolutely in for this. And let me also thank, I love when Candace comes on and she's got the power and she is just, what she did with that Lori Franzel, wow. But here's the problem. And if Candace were here, I'd say, Candace, because that's her name, Candace, they're stupid. Erika's stupid. She doesn't really understand what you're saying. Candace, she's stupid. Stupid people they're dangerous because they don't know what they're doing. They're not very good at this. So you have to be very, very obvious. So does that make sense? I toast you because I want to get down to, I just love being among you. I love it's like I found this. I don't know what the word is. It's like up till now, I never really had an intellectual home. I had some people who like this, and a lot of people like this. I thought, well, this is okay. It's like I'm looking for a 12-step program, and I couldn't find one. And I found this one. I don't know if we're trying to get off of something, if we're addicted. I guess we're addicted to truth, but we're not going to wean off that. But it was a group of people. It's like a support group. And I walked into this. I don't know about you, but I said, Erika, who's Erika? Okay, I'll give it a shot. Holy God, this woman's crazy. And then it got fun. And then somebody said, no, go ahead. Here, watch this. Oh my God. Are you? Yeah. Is she? Wow. And that's the way I thought. And then I knew Candace, but I didn't go looking for this, but I found it and I thought this is the greatest story there is. But meanwhile, while I'm here, I'm meeting the best people around. We're having fun. It's a different vibe. If you notice it, it's serious, but it's funny. But then I thought, these people are serious. These are cold-blooded, hardcore, good people. We might call them patriots. I don't know. But you exemplified this. Seriously. Really did. I thought this is fun. And I don't know about you. Quick. One or two, yes or no. Have you had somebody said, would you get off this Erika Kirk thing? Stop it. For the love of God. Stop. What is the matter with you? That's all you talk about. Enough. What is it? I swear to God, I'm getting something. Would you stop? I'm thinking, you don't know anything about it. Are you talking about her again? Yes. It's the greatest story in the world. What is the matter with you? How can you possibly not see this? Because it's a story about lying and deceit, and it's about everything. It's this great story with a character. Do you remember watching Dynasty, Alexis, between Joan Collins and Linda Evans? Or original says, if this was a movie, it would be called a horror picture. Yeah, or Rocky Horror maybe, because it's kind of fun. I mean, it's a horror story, but the people are fun. But remember, you would see. Did you see this? They were crazy. They would fight each other, and it was about the personality. The storyline meant nothing. Dynasty was great. Falcon Crest, Dallas. The storyline meant nothing. We don't care about that. But the people, well, that's the story. Because I came into this, I told people, I said, first of all, you got to see Erika. She's just, I don't know what it is. I don't think she's a psychopath. She's not smart enough. I don't think she's a sociopath. I just think she's a liar. She has no sense of decorum, no sense of excess, no sense of class, no sense of, my mom loved, Dynasty was great. Remember when they threw each other into the pools? During COVID, we watched all of this stuff. And by the way, if you really want to see something that you will not believe, look at Peyton Place in like the early 60s with Ryan O'Neal and you think it'd be tame? Oh no. By the way, who was it? I think Falcon Crest. No, Dynasty. I forget. Somebody says, you're gay. No, gay, so son of mine that you're sick. And you're like, what? I mean, it was another world. It was another world. It was far more exciting, interesting. But this, and just when you thought, wow, oh no, but remember QVC? But wait, there's more. Let's go back and let's look what she did. Why? Because you're exhausted. What does she do now? Oh no. Let's go back. You know where she's from? No, she doesn't either. You know what her birthday is? No, she doesn't either. How many, she says she's her mother was a single parent? No, she wasn't. She had her father's very close to her. Lived with her till, what? Oh, she lies about stuff that isn't even important. Did you hear her story about how she was recruited? By the way, if I went to a pageant, I said, ladies, just may I have your attention, please? Ladies, thank you. How many of you were recruited to be in pageants? Show of hands. None. Who is recruited? Knots Landing. That's right. Knots Landing was the offshoot of Dallas. Remember Ray? Remember Sue Ellen? Do you remember? Maybe you don't. Who shot JR? The episode where we're going to find out where they shot JR. Do you remember? Everything shut down. Everything shut down. It was like the biggest story. My God. It was fantastic. Bourbon and Branch. Anyway. But she made up a story about that. She made up a story about, remember she had all these things. Oh, by the way, and how about that Baron, huh? He's got either her LinkedIn or her CV. Well, she graduated magna cum laude from this. She didn't do that. And from this, that didn't happen. From this, that didn't happen. So what are you talking about? And then she says, Fort Huachuca went through that. She's doing an industrial for the CIA with EMPs, went through that. China, she says, I never dated. You dated this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Then I didn't drink. You're drinking. You see, here's my question. What has she ever said that's true? Do you think she loved Charlie? This is terrible. Do you think she loves anything other than herself? Don't you think that Charlie was just this poor schmuck they saw him coming? Popular guy, brilliant, but unsophisticated when it comes to women, or I don't know if he dated anybody, or didn't you think he was like, she just saw him and got her digs into him, and that was it? You understand this? Got her. Remember that? It was like something that was like so sad. Absolutely so sad. And then you realize, and remember the day they got Charlie, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. When I heard the smack of that rifle, that sound, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then that evolved. The titanium bones can't find. No. If you want to get down, it's all one big rabbit hole. It's one warren of confusion, the likes of which I have never seen before. Truly. Absolutely. 100% truly. So in any event, my dear friends, I thank you. I thank you for your incredible kindness tonight, your generosity. Thank you for your contributions. Let me also say, speaking to my wife, please thank you. She wanted me to thank you for following her at Lynn's Warriors. She has so many new things, so many people to interview. You've got to hear these family victims. She dies, her heart dies. And the children who themselves were survivors. She talks with them all the time. We have an event coming up she'll explain that, with young girls, and trying to give them mentors and help these people. It's a never-ending battle. They walk around with this mysterious, it's like almost like a mark. But they've been through so much. So in any event, thank you for that. Thank you for following her at Lynn's Warriors. I have the link there in the front. And I thank you as well. So my friends, I'm going to have some questions. Please like the video. Thank you all. You spent an hour and 23 minutes with me this evening. And you didn't have to. But I think we know our mission. We're not just going to talk about it. We have to take it to the next level. And we got to somehow sit down with Candace and tell her, we're here. Tell us what you need. We're your army. We're your warriors. We're the K-Pack, or whatever our group is. All right, my friends? All right. Have a great and a beautiful day. Today in New York, it's 61 right now. The sun was out. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was glorious. Windows open, and spring is going to come in. I hope, what is it, like a lion? Whatever the expression is. All right, my friends, I love you. Thank you so much, dear friends. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Again, please subscribe. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Please follow the channel. And thank you so much for watching. Until we meet again, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.